presents The Canadian Tradition.
Well, on this week's episode, we're joining up with a great friend of mine, Pat Kehoe of Ducks Unlimited Canada. We're packed up, we're heading to the beautiful province of Saskatchewan, one of the real waterfowl meccas of Canada, the Prairie Pothole region, and we're pursuing some waterfowl.
The Canadian Tradition is brought to you by Ram, built to serve. Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter. Under Armour, go where you don't belong. Polaris, the world leader in off-road. Steel, get the job done. Winchester, the American legend. Leupold, be relentless. Toyo Tires, driven to perform. Lund Boats, the ultimate fishing experience. WeatherTech, nothing protects like WeatherTech. And by Ducks Unlimited Canada, our wetlands, our future.
When it comes to waterfowling, I think any avid hunter really owes himself the opportunity, at least once in his lifetime, to travel out to the Prairie Pothole region and to see this part of Canada. One is, it's absolutely gorgeous. Two is just to see the birds. And three is to really understand how important, how crucial this area is for waterfowl populations, especially in that Prairie Pothole region, in that central flyway.
As far as migratory waterfowl, Saskatchewan, the prairies of Canada, in fact, have limitless opportunities for the waterfowl hunter. It's everything from sandhill cranes to Canada geese, white-fronted geese, specklebellies as they're called, snow geese and Ross's geese. Just about every variety of duck that is found in North America pass through Saskatchewan in big numbers. And spending a couple of weeks out here, I would say, is very critical to any waterfowler's mental health. You really get grounded in terms of why it's important to conserve wetlands, why your interest in waterfowl are so key to your heart, is coming out to Saskatchewan and seeing that migration in the fall and enjoying some hunting in this area.
There's just endless amounts of little pockets of water, and in most cases, if you're driving past it, might look like a swamp, but the importance that these potholes have for migrating ducks, for songbirds, even big game animals that are coming down here getting something to drink. I mean, a wetland is just a thriving piece of ground, very, very fertile, and everything that lives on the landscape out here uses it.
Canada's Prairie Pothole region, which Saskatchewan is the epicenter, holds about 50% of the continent's breeding ducks. And combine that with the boreal forest of Canada, Canada has about 70% of the continent's breeding ducks.
So when you talk about wetland loss and you start to see some of these potholes being cleaned out and really stripped from the landscape, as a hunter, you understand that's not good. Those animals are losing their home. And I think that's one of the great things about Ducks Unlimited Canada. I mean, this organization was founded on the backs of hunters. It was like-minded individuals like us that are out here and are pursuing these animals and are spending so much time with them that they really start to notice habitat change.
We're in a critical area for waterfowl breeding. Those potholes, the ponds are critical to breeding success, but they also need extensive tracts of undisturbed grassland for good breeding success. So Ducks Unlimited concentrates on securing land, restoring wetlands, and grasslands to have maximum duck breeding.
Great thing about Ducks Unlimited was whether it's their scientific research, their waterfowl studies, these folks know how to do that through preserving our wetlands, for creating new opportunities that these birds can use. It's just fantastic, and it really does change the look of our landscape. It brings the ducks back, it brings all wildlife back, and I don't think there's a better organization, whether you're a hunter or a non-hunter. DU is utilizing every single dollar and putting it back into our landscape, and it's just, you know, it makes me proud to be a member and to participate in that. The opportunities that I've had to go on duck hunts with Ducks Unlimited is just, I mean, like, mind-blowing. We've seen ourselves in Nova Scotia duck tubs. Pat and I have seen ourselves in beautiful British Columbia, and I mean, just about everywhere in between. When we get together, it's a great time. Pat's really become a good friend of mine, but the most enjoyable thing I like about hunting with Pat is he's so smart. Every time we go on a hunt, I pick up new information, whether that's the biology behind a particular bird species, what birds are eating on, their brood size. Just, I mean, you name it, Pat is like opening up an encyclopedia of wildlife across our landscape. So passing the time in the blind, being able to chit-chat back and forth, learning new things, I mean, that's the real social part of duck hunting that I really have come to enjoy.
Saskatchewan is the epicenter for duck breeding in the continent. It's also heavily used for agriculture. In Canada, we lose about 80 acres of wetlands a day, and those wetlands are lost to everything from agricultural development to urban development. But here on the prairies, it's agricultural development that's really the back and forth, I guess, conflict with wetland conservation. And we need to find ways to support the agricultural community in their economic pursuits and their pursuits of sustainable agriculture, and ensure that those wetlands are recognized as necessary for sustainable use of the land here in the prairies. Those wetlands are valuable features, and it's getting that recognition of the value of wetlands to those private landowners in Saskatchewan and other parts of the country that is critical to our success.
When it comes to hunting, conditions can change so fast, especially out here in the prairie region.
First morning we set up on a pothole. We drove into one that we chose to hunt. It was frozen solid. We went into the land a little bit deeper and found a wooded deep pothole that was open, holding about 5,000 to 6,000 mallards. We let them go out to feed, set up, and did what was called a back shoot, where the birds are coming back to water after feeding.
Our only hope was that some birds were going to go out into the field and then trickle back to puddle in this open water. Well, Pat, it's a pleasure to be back here. We spent a lot of time in the duck blind together, and both of us got busy. And, good to be back.
Really good to see you again here. So one of the ponds we were looking at this morning was frozen solid. We came over here, this had open water and a bunch of ducks on at daybreak. They're out in the fields feeding now, and hopefully they're going to come back here before too long.
This is so nice. This year you can actually drive around this pond, and we've positioned ourselves with the sun right at our back. There was birds on the other side, but the smart move to set up is always have that sun behind you, because you're going to be in the shadows.
In the shadows of the blind here, yeah.
And those birds are looking, but I tell you, I'm pretty excited. All right, man, well, let's see what we can get at here. Oh, here's a bunch coming. One's coming down.
Come right at it.
What are these?
Green wings.
Nice, good shooting. That's not a bad little volley, eh?
No, hell.
Man, those mallards are gorgeous.
That'd be nice. Look at that bird there. Look at that bird. Yeah, nice gadwall drake there.
Yeah. Beautiful chestnuts in the wingtips, eh?
Yeah, they're an underrated bird, gadwalls.
Yeah.
They're quite a beautiful duck. I think it's going to be good. It's about time for the birds to really come in. There's flocks in the air. We've got 7 down so far, a few more to go, and great morning.
Take them. I got 2.
Nice. Nice shooting.
Thank you. Oh no, that's why Winchester sells boxes of 25 shot, I guess. Oh, another nice flock coming here, Pat. On them.
Nice, nice.
Tell you, we're out here in central Saskatchewan, and I mean, this is some of the best back shooting that I think I've ever experienced. I think the biggest contributing factor is having our blind set up facing the sun. And it's just basically these birds don't see us and they're coming in, and look at these nice big Drake mallards, beauty birds. What's this bird?
That was a bonus.
Good calling, Pat.
Thank you.
Look at that. I tell you, that's an SX4 right there. Perfect shot placement too, because all 3 of them landed on dry ground, so they're easy recovery. Let me go grab those. Those are big Canadas. The wingtip on them, huge birds. The size of a turkey. Some breast meat there. Got them.
Nice pintail drake.
Yeah, those are nice.
That's a pretty respectable pile of birds now, you know?
Pat, we do have a lovely array of birds here. We've got some gadwalls, some pintails, some mallards, and we actually have some jewelry. Now, when people do get a band, I see that there's www.reportband.gov.
Yeah.
So I can go online?
Absolutely, go online. That's U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and they'll send you a certificate, printable certificate of appreciation.
Yeah.
Tell you where the bird was banded, how old it was when it was banded, the sex and species. There's a few things you learn from banding, migration routes, of course, where they're banded, where they end up. Also, harvest rates, you know how many birds are banded. You can make an estimate of how many birds are actually being harvested through the banding results.
Nice. Awesome. It's been a fun morning, Pat.
Great morning.
Got a couple more birds to go. We're going to get back in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
get
try
back
and get
in.
another bird.
As that morning progressed, it just turned out really fantastic. Sure, some of the birds left and didn't come back, but we got enough birds that went out into the field that came back to our pothole that provided some great shooting opportunities. And we knew that we had a couple nice mallards in the bag. We're gonna fry up and cook for dinner, and it was just a fabulous hunt. Time flew by, and sooner than we knew it, we were picking up the decoys, heading home. We're gonna grab something to eat, and then put a game plan together for the following day. Due to the weather taking a turn from the worse and getting even colder, it froze up our potholes, and it was something to see. Within an hour from pulling our decoys, the pond that we were just hunting froze over. So to try to find some open water for the next morning's hunt was going to be a bit of a challenge.
So our second hunt was on a fairly deep water lake in a deep coulee. That water hadn't frozen.
Lucky for us, we were able to locate this big reservoir which was still open, which meant the birds are going to be using it. The downfall is it was a relatively large reservoir, so those birds weren't going to be concentrated in a certain area like a smaller pothole. But we got set up, we kind of made a makeshift blind out of the shrubs and the bushes that were around, and we bundled up and we decided to sit it out, and hopefully we could get some birds on the ground.
If you do come to Saskatchewan to hunt, it's important to be adaptable. It's also important to spend at least a day getting to know the area, where the birds are. I mean, we put on 200 to 300 kilometers every morning and every afternoon scouting this area to know what the birds are doing and where to be to have a successful hunt. Doing your homework like that is critical to having a successful and enjoyable time out here.
Okay, we're gonna get some shooting here.
That's not it. There you go.
Too low, too low. Coming right up the lake.
Yeah, right off the weed bed there. Three now.
This one's coming in, single out front.
Yeah, got him. Right there.
Coming in, coming in. Two out front here.
Right in front.
Just 40 yards, eh? Right here, up front, up front. Like they look good until they hit 60 yards, and then they just stay out at...
Yeah, something here comes two right at us, coming at us, right at us. That came in nice.
Single ducking behind them.
Okay, got him, yeah.
On them?
Yep.
Nice.
That's 7 birds down. Nice. Calling actually helped that one. Right here.
Another one coming across the lake towards us. Nice, Pat. Beauty. You want to do a bird pickup then? Well, Pat, we're chipping away at them here.
Yeah, got a variety of birds. I mean, late season.
It's such a different hunt than what we did the other day.
Yeah, this is the only open water we can find in a deep
And boy,
deep
we covered
coulee
some
here.
miles.
And we did. And there were a lot of birds in here yesterday. They may have thinned out a little bit, I think, but there's still a few around, and we're getting a good variety of birds.
Yep. A cool thing about being in this part of Saskatchewan at this time of year during the peak migration is there's so many different species of birds. We went past one field, it was filled with snow geese. And when you see those birds erupt and they take off and they start cycloning and they're trying to figure out how to get back down to land in this field, it just gives you a real sense of how small you are in the grand scheme of nature. To be there and just to hear all of those different bird sounds really gives you a sense that the prairies are alive. Looking back on this trip, it was just fantastic. We had a few days in Saskatchewan. We were hit by some unexpected weather. Everything was freezing up, but that's one of the great things about being a hunter, because you know, if you want to be successful, you have to adapt to every situation, whether it's cold, hot, freezing, windy, no wind, fog, snow, ice. You've got to roll with the flow. Having a hunting buddy that understands that just as much as you do is definitely a treat. So what can I say? Our time in Saskatchewan was a success, and I was sure proud to see that migration start.
The Canadian Tradition has been brought to you by Ram, built to serve. Cabela's, world's foremost outfitter. Under Armour, go where you don't belong. Polaris, the world leader in off-road. Steel, get the job done. Winchester, the American legend. Leupold, be relentless. Toyo Tires, driven to perform. Lund Boats, the ultimate fishing experience. WeatherTech, nothing protects like WeatherTech. And by Ducks Unlimited Canada, our wetlands, our future.
Follow The Canadian Tradition on Facebook and make sure to visit thecanadiantradition.com for news, contests, and show recipes.